Hi everyone, we're back with another Atmos Gaming video, the final in our series of Riftbound Precon Openings. We're saving Victor for last, maybe the best for last. I know a lot of people like Victor. I still think I'm partial to Jinx. I'm going to try to go pretty quickly through this one. I said the same for Lee Sin, but then I ended up doing kind of some deep rules dives. So if you want some deep rules dives, check out that Lee Sin one. I'll probably end up saying some more of the same stuff because I just can't help myself. But we're going to try to go quickly through this because I have to go to a Monday Night Football watch party at Mango's house. For those longtime listeners, there's hundreds of you out there who remember Mango, dear Mango. I'm not opening this by the pool tab that I should be, as I wax poetic about Mango, or Jacob as we tend to call him by his actual name. I am still failing dramatically at opening this. There is no pool tab. It's supposed to be like here. There it is. We created our own pool tab and we got it. So right off, our legend, which again you get one of, starts in the legend zone, is never really interacted with, sets your domain, and this is Victor. And so he's blue-white, which is mind order. So these always have like an activated or triggered ability. This one's an activated ability, pay 1 energy and exhaust him, and you get basically a 1/1, a 1 might recruit token. So not bad, immediately suggests a go wide strategy. So here's our champion, which again also has to be Victor because our legend is the Victor. You get one of these. It's basically like an opening card in your starting hand. It starts in the champion zone. When it dies, it does not go back there. It just goes to your graveyard, aka trash in this game. So it's more like a companion than a commander. So this costs 4 energy, and you have to recycle a mind rune, which means basically sacrifice it, put it on the bottom of your deck, and you're always going to use an exhausted rune to recycle, right? Just makes sense. Like that's how you'd sack lands in Magic. This is a 3 for 4, and when you play a card on your opponent's turn, so that could be an action or a reaction. Reactions are basically straight up instants. Actions are sorceries, but can also be played during the showdown step of combat, which is the initial step, where basically players just alternate either passing or playing actions or reactions. So when you play a card on an opponent's turn, play a 1 might recruit unit token at your base. It doesn't necessarily have to be actions. You can also play hidden cards, which can be units. You can react with those on your opponent's turn as well, and that would be another way to get these recruits. So again, more recruit token go wide's energy. Here's Heimer. Notice Heimer is a champion, but I cannot play him as my champion in my deck because he is not Victor. Also, there's a 3 copy max of any card in your deck, and that includes champion units. So even though literally this champion Victor is my champion, I could play 2 more of them in my main deck for a total of 3. So here's Heimerdinger. He is a 3 for 3, does also have to recycle a mind rune, and it has the exhaust abilities of all friendly legends, units, and gear. So Heimer is the whiz, and basically copies what we've seen so far, copies Victor's exhaust ability. I said tap ability, it's called exhaust in this game, so pretty cool, really cranking out 1/1s. So here is a rare spell. Oh, I did not mention this in Lee Sin. There's also signature spells, which you do not get in these precons because they're typically epics, and you don't get to start with a signature spell in your hand or anything like that. There's actually a restriction, is you can only play signature spells if that signature spell matches your legend and champion, because they're always going to match each other. So like you can't play Misfortune signature spell in Victor's deck. You can only play Victor's signature spell in Victor's deck. So this costs 6 and triple recycle, which is quite high. Grand stratagem, give friendly units +5 might this turn. So massive overrun effect. You know, there's no evasion in this game because you're never dealing health damage to anything. You're just battling for control over battlefield. So trample wouldn't function, but still +5 might to the board, especially when clearly we're cranking out 1/1 weenies, extremely strong because that makes them 6/6s or 6s. Excuse me. So this is a 5 for 6, also a rare. Also have to recycle a Mind Rune. So a lot of recycling in this deck, unlike the Lee Sin deck if you watch that one. The first time a friendly unit dies each turn, draw 1. That's good text. That's good text, especially if you're cranking out a lot of like chump fodder, which is definitely the theme of this deck. Orb of Regret. Just a 1-cost gear. Gears are like artifacts in Magic, they're permanents. Can exhaust this to give a unit -1 might this turn to a minimum of 1. So, not too shabby. So, the speed of abilities in this game is actually the opposite of Magic. In Magic, it's the fastest. It's like an instant, unless it otherwise says as a sorcery. In this game, it's as slow as the slowest spell speed, which is just spell, which is basically a sorcery, only during your speed. So there's no responding with this. There's not even any doing this in a showdown, because that would require action speed. It's just you have to do this before, on your main phase before any combat. But still not bad. Stupefy. This is a spell, cost 1, and it is a reaction, so basically an instant. And it gives the unit -1, so we're seeing a theme again, to a minimum of 1 might, and you draw a card. Don't hate this, pretty solid cantrip. We kind of see this in Magic as well sometimes, is like the blue spell that gives -3, -0. This is better because it's actually reducing health and attack, like it's just one number in this game, so no complaints about that card. How about this? Cull the Weak. Cost 2 and have to recycle an Order Rune, and each player kills one of their units. So it's a symmetrical edict effect in Magic terms, but obviously we're cranking out 1/1s, so this is just great. I thought I was going to lose early because in the Jinx deck, I ramped out, or I played my champion on turn 1, because the second player, actually, so that's an interesting thing. So both players in this game draw 4 cards to start, but you really have 5 total cards in your opening hand because your champion is effectively in your opening hand, and then each player actually draws to start their turn. So the starting player actually gets 6 cards in their opening hand total because they draw to start their turn, and they channel 2 runes, which is actually 8 total cards in Magic terms, right? Which is how many cards you would have in your opening hand if you went second in Magic. But the person who goes second also draws, naturally, but they actually get to channel 3 runes on their first turn instead of just 2. So that's how I was able to play the Jinx champion on turn 1, and then on turn 2, on their turn through, they were activate the Victor ability and Cull the Weak. So I had to sacrifice my Jinx that I just recycled to get into play, and they just had to sacrifice the 1/1 that they just made. So quite a good card in this deck. That's why it is playing 3 of them. Very strong. Hidden Blade, 2, and yet another recycle of an Order Rune. This is a spell. It's an action, which means it can be played during your turn or during the showdown phase of any combat. Kill a unit at a battlefield. Its controller draws 2. This also is hidden, which means that you can play it face down on a battlefield you control. You have to control it by recycling a rune of any color, and then it upgrades it from an action to a reaction. So it upgrades it from a sorcery or only showdown to a reaction, which is basically an instant that you can cast for 0. So since this actually has a... Now this is interesting. It says react later for 0. Yeah, so you pretty much always want to make this hidden, because normally hidden just equates for the an energy cost, but this one actually also covers the recycle. So you have to recycle anyway when you're casting it. You might as well just recycle hidden and then cast it for free. So blowing up their creature and drawing 2, that's pretty good if you're winning that turn or the next, but also you can just blow up your own 1/1, and draw 2. So that's pretty solid. I like it more from that perspective. But good utility of being able to blow up their creature in a pinch as well. Smokescreen, 2, and yet another, every card has recycle in this deck, which is why you're seeing a lot of more low-cost stuff as opposed to the Lee Sin deck. So 2 and a Mind Rune recycle. It is a reaction spell. Give a unit -4 might this turn to a minimum of 1. This also just seems great. Again, not strictly removal since it can't reduce it to 0. It's not going to kill it, but this is a combat trick. -4 might. That's pretty much going to kill something. So yeah, quite good. I guess the reason it's not like broken is because it can't actually blow out a buff because it can't kill, right? So like you could layer this with other removal, like maybe if you're in blue red has direct damage, right? You could play like a cheap direct damage action and then respond to your own action by reacting with this to like make it smaller so that your damage spell then kills it. So, but that is taking 2 cards. Back to back, this is a pretty good pump, and finally not a recycle. So cost 3 spell, reaction against an instant, 2 friendly units plus 2 might each. It's actually played better than I was expecting it to. I thought it was just kind of mid, and don't get me wrong, I still think it's kind of mid, but at the Precon level, this actually performed pretty well when I saw it played. I did watch and judge a lot of games. So Sprite Call, it's a spell that costs 3. It's an action, but also it can do the hidden thing, so it upgrades 3 actions. If you just recycle a rune of any color, then you can play it for 0. When you play something hidden, again, it has to be on a battlefield you own, and you cannot react with it that turn. It has to at least be the next turn, which would be your opponent's turn or any one of your future turns. So this says play a 3 might sprite unit token with temporary. Play a ready. So when it says play a token like this, that means you can, again, play it in any zone that you control. So like if you're getting attacked, and so if they start like contesting a battlefield, you can react with this, or even play it as an action. And since you still control that battlefield, you can just play it immediately to that battlefield. Or if it's your turn, you could like maybe react to this and just play it in your base. And since it's ready after that combat, maybe you want to attack the other battlefield with this 3 sprite because it basically has haste. Then temporary just means it dies at the beginning of your next turn. But there's a very important timing thing here that it lays out in the text is before scoring. So what that means is that this cannot effectively be your only unit holding a battlefield. This is your only unit on the battlefield. It will not end up holding it for the scoring point portion because it dies first. So it's a pretty good card. It also played pretty well. Here's another spell with hidden. And it's straight up a reaction, so you're not getting an upgrade when you hide it because it's always a reaction. And it's draw 2. So like recycle 1, draw 2. Seems pretty good, cashing in a rune to draw 2. Like, again, it effectively costs 0 at that point, as 0 energy, just recycling the rune. But, like, if you have the sigils, which I'm definitely going to have a short on the evaluation and potential power of sigils, it goes really well with hidden cards like this. This would be a good case study for why sigils could be pretty broken. Soaring Scout, I think I just talked about this in the last opening. Really like this card. It's a 1 for 2, so overcosted, must have a good ability. Death Knell is just a death trigger, and it channels a rune, Exhausted. So it like ramps you for next turn. Just a solid card. Playing 3 of them. We like ramping. And not necessarily ramping, but also we've seen a bunch of channel, a bunch of things that require, recycling our runes. So getting more runes in play to recycle is pretty clutch. Because even though this is exhausted, you could still recycle it immediately. Like, it doesn't have to be untapped in order to recycle. So you could, like, this could die in combat. You get this channeled rune exhausted, and then you could play a hidden card by just recycling that rune, even though it's an exhausted. So Eager Apprentice. This is a 3 for 3. While I'm at a battlefield, energy cost for spells you play is reduced by 1 to a minimum of 1. So I was lower on this, but then I realized that when you move this to initiate a contest on a battlefield, this is at a battlefield, and it will make all your actions and reactions during that showdown phase cost 1 less. So that actually, and this already a 3 for 3, so this card I think is actually pretty good. Sucks that I can't make stuff free, but still. I think he's not too shabby now. This is a 6 for 4 as an additional cost to play me, kill a friendly unit. Seems great in this deck because this is always only cost 5 because I can just use my legend, right, to just make a 1/1. So it's a 6 for 5 is the worst it'll be. But hopefully you're killing something that you made a while ago and just getting like a 6 on turn 2, right? Because on turn 1, you have 2 runes, right, if you're going first. So you just like don't play anything, just like use your ability to make one. And then on turn 2, you channel 2 more runes. You just sack the the recruit that you made on turn 1 and play this. It's great. Great plays. Actually, first you occupy, or you contest the battlefield, try to get the victory point, then you play this and sack the recruit. All right, Jeweled Colossus. 5 for 5. Vision, which is just basically scry. It's exactly like the top card. You can put it on the bottom. That's what recycle means. And it has +1 might while it's a defender. That's what shield is. So just fine, kind of vanilla-ish. Here's our battlefields. Each deck in deck building needs 3 battlefields. If you're playing best of 1, you just select one of random for the game. If you're playing best of 3, you actually pick one in secret, both players do, before game 1, and then you reveal them at the same time. And then every game you have to pick a different one. You can't use the same battlefield twice. So game 3, you'll be using your last battlefield. So it's some cool additional strategy. Units here have +1 might, so obviously supports kind of the weenie go wide strategy that this deck is doing. When you hold here, if you have 7+ units here, you win the game. So an alternate win con for a go wide strategy. Also obviously good in this deck. That's only 2? There's only 2 battlefields? What? What? I'm almost positive there's supposed to be 3. Maybe it's later. Strange. 2 cost gear, so gears are just like artifacts. Mushroom Pouch. At the start of your beginning phase, if you control a face-down card at a battlefield, so a hidden card, you draw one. Seems fine. Seems like some pretty good draw. Really wants you to be playing hidden stuff, obviously. Oh, I kind of like this one. So that was an uncommon. This is also an uncommon little triangle symbol down here. This is a 2 for 2. And when you play a spell, give me +1 might. There's a Ari red-blue spell slinging deck that I want to build, and I'll put this in here because I think it'll pretty regularly be a 4 might for 2, which is strong. So, like that card. It is playing 3 of them in this deck. Noxian Drummer. I also think this is strong. When I move to a battlefield, play a 1 might recruit unit token here. So at the battlefield that it's moving to. Just seems good. Always play this in your base, move it in, get a little bit of extra material, a little bit of extra power. Seems great. Oh, here's our last battlefield. Strange. When you hold here, play a 1 might recruit unit token in your base. Wow, these are like the most synergistic battlefields, all very directly going with what Victor's trying to do. Here's all of our recruits and the sprite tokens. This is, as I mentioned before, the only 2 types of tokens that we've seen so far, and everything is a buff on the back, which this deck doesn't use buffs, but definitely uses the tokens. And then we have our runes, 6 of each for our 12-card rune deck, which is separate. Cool thing, runes have white backs, tokens are double-sided, so they don't count. Your legend and your battlefields have black backs, while everything else is blue. So blue are main deck cards, white are rune deck cards, black are none of the above. So special cards, legend or battlefields, and then double-sided tokens. Alrighty, so I like this Victor deck. There's clearly very synergistic battlefields. Overall, the deck feels maybe even the most glued together, like the most focused in what it's doing. I guess it had like some ancillary like spell casting stuff, like the thing that needs hidden cards in order to draw you a card, the gear, the 2/2 that gets bigger when you cast spells, which doesn't really feel exactly like what this deck is doing. But it definitely feels good. All of them feel good. Jinx is still my favorite. Love Graveyard's energies, love dumping my hand and redrawing, but all of these decks are cool, and I think will speak to different players. All right, let's open the bonus pack to support pack opening addiction habits. Every precon comes with one. Eager Apprentice, this is in the deck. A 3 of, so we can't play it, but it's pretty good. Super generic 5 for 5, uninteresting. This is in the Jinx deck, and it overperformed for me, mainly because so much Jinx deck stuff had recycle, and this does not. So it's just a 4 for 5 where you have to discard to reduce the cost by 2, but like discarding in the Jinx deck is basically upside, so pretty good. This is also in the Jinx deck. This is an action, move a unit from a battlefield to its base, basically remove something from combat, so that's pretty good. So in that instance again, where you can like kind of blow out a combat trick, if they're attacking and they lead with the combat trick, yeah, you can't react with this unless it's hidden, but also you don't need to because you can just move it afterwards. But it being a reaction is just upside, so like you can hide it. Oh, here's a Soaring Scout that we just saw, solid card. Confront, it's a spell, it's an action. Units you play this turn enter ready. Don't really know why this is an action. Like, I guess you could, I don't really know why this is an action, but sure. And it redraws, so not too shabby, but I'm not really into spending mana on that. So this is a 2 for 3. You can play to an open battlefield. I'm not too excited about this. I don't care that much about going to open battlefields. Oh, here's our first uncommon. So I think it's like 8 commons, 3 uncommons, foil slot, which can be any rarity, 2 rares, and then a rune slot, which can be an alternate art rune, which is worth like $15. So that would be sick. And they look awesome. So this costs 5 and has to recycle 2, so that's pretty steep. Imperial Decree. When any unit takes damage this turn, kill it. Well, that's pretty good for going wide, but again, it's quite expensive, but strong. Oh, here's a battlefield at uncommon. I think all the battlefields are uncommons. Void Gate. Spells and abilities affecting units here each deal 1 bonus damage. Okay. So that's a dangerous battlefield to be at. Like it for spell slinging sort of decks. Seems solid. Blast Cone Fae. Blast Cone. It's a 2 for 2. Does have to recycle a mind rune, and it can do the hidden thing, which again I'm really into because if it already takes recycling, I might as well just recycle and make it hidden. When you play me, give a unit -2 might this turn to a minimum of 1. This is a pretty good 2-drop, feels like to me, especially to hide it. I mean, recycling is a cost, but I'm pretty down for that. I like this guy. Last Cone Fae. Ooh, our foil is a rare, so we are Yahtzeeing a little bit here. Foil slot is Echo. It is a champion unit, so it can be played with the Legend Echo as their champion slot. And it's a 5 for 5. It does have to recycle a mind rune. And it can accelerate for 1 in a mind rune. So recycling a mind rune and just paying 1, presumably the mind rune that you're recycling. And it has Death Knell. Recycle me to your ready runes. When I die, recycle me to your ready runes. What? Oh, recycle me to ready your runes. Reading sentence conjugation is helpful. Okay. So it just goes on the bottom of your deck instead of into your trash, and you fully ready all your mana, basically. That seems good. That seems pretty cool. I've not seen this card yet. I dig that. Oh, here's a Grand Strategist. I think a Grand Stratagem. We just saw this in the deck. So here's another one, another big overrun. We could put this in the deck. I'm not sure you want to run 2 of these big things. Oh, we got epic. Oh, this card last I checked is $80. It is the single best hit you can get. Oh boy, what a last bonus pack. Let's see if it's still that expensive. Let me clear my filters here. My goodness. I guess I should read it. Would be helpful. Oh, I cleared all filters, including the game I was looking at. Riftbound. Price high to low. This card is, oh, I think it's fallen a bit. Yeah, it is now $68. $68 epic. So, why is this card so expensive? It is an 8 for 8, 2 body runes recycle. It has deflect, which is basically like ward in Magic terms. Opponents must pay they actually have to recycle a rune in order to target this. And you can play me to an occupied enemy battlefield. So that's why this is so broken, is because it can just like immediately trigger a combat kind of like out of nowhere. Like super haste, basically. So yeah, just a super strong beater for 8. And again, a $68 card. So that was a sick hit. Best hit that you can get that's not a, you know, one of the ultra rare alternate signature sort of cards. Just the best normal card. I've still not opened an alternate art yet. At the pre-release, a lot of people were opening them. And we got a Fury rune. So definitely happy with that. That was a cool final bonus pack to open. So anyway, now I'm going to go run to some football and also playing Riftbound. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this content, and hopefully I will actually post it and then follow up with some shorts distilling just the massive information that I'm putting in these videos. So until next time, see you guys.